Madam C.J. Walker's journey from poverty to wealth stands as one of America's most inspiring stories of success. She broke barriers not only for women but also for African Americans, becoming the first black woman to achieve millionaire status. Some argue that she was also the first self-made female millionaire in the United States. Her challenges and triumphs serve as a beacon of American entrepreneurship, inspiring generations to come. Sarah Breedlove was born on December 23, 1867. She was the youngest of 6 children and the first to be born free in her family, just a few years after the emancipation of slaves in the U.S. Her parents, Owen and Minerva Breedlove, along with her older siblings, were enslaved on a cotton plantation in Delta, Louisiana, the very place where Sarah entered the world. Sarah faced adversity from an early age. Her mother passed away when she was only 5, and her father followed suit just a couple of years later. She moved home with her elder sister and brother-in-law in Vicksburg, Mississippi, after becoming an orphan at the age of 7. There, she continued to toil in the cotton fields until problems with her brother-in-law prompted her to marry at the age of 14 to escape mistreatment. Sarah and her husband, Moses McWilliams, welcomed a daughter, Lelia, also known as Alelia, in June of 1885. However, their time together was brief, as Moses passed away just 2 years later, leaving Sarah a widow at the young age of 20. Accompanied by her 2-year-old daughter, Sarah made the decision to depart from the South and journey to St. Louis, Missouri, where some of her brothers had established themselves as barbers after relocating from Louisiana as part of the Exoduster movement years earlier. Securing employment as a laundress and cook, Sarah worked tirelessly for a wage of $1.50 per day. In 1894, she entered into her second marriage, tying the knot with John Davis, but his inability to fulfill his marital duties prompted her to part ways with him around 1903. In those days, akin to numerous black women, Sarah grappled with hair loss brought on by inadequate nutrition and irregular hair washing, which led to scalp ailments. Her brothers imparted hair care wisdom to her. It was during the World's Fair of 1904 that she encountered Annie Turnbow, another African-American entrepreneur in the hair care industry, and signed on as a commission agent for Turnbow's Poro Company. Drawing from the insights gained from her brothers and her association with Poro, Sarah delved into devising remedies for her own hair loss dilemma. Concurrently, she embarked on a romantic relationship with Charles Joseph Walker, a salesman for the St. Louis Clarion newspaper. Sarah moved to Denver, Colorado, in 1905 with her daughter to live with her sister-in-law's family. Charles joined them shortly after, and the couple tied the knot in 1906, with Sarah formally adopting the name Madam C.J. Walker. As she continued selling products for Turnbow's Poro Company, Walker had a revelation from a dream. She recounted, "A big black man appeared to me and instructed me on what to mix up for my hair. I ordered the treatment, some of which was produced in Africa, applied it to my scalp, and my hair began to come back more quickly than it had in a few weeks." She unveiled her new hair product, Madam Walker's Wonderful Hair Grower, which cost $1.25 at first. Walker demonstrated her marketing prowess by selling her hair product through various channels, door-to-door sales, at churches and clubs, and even through a mail-order catalog. She not only promoted a hair care system, but also provided guidance to other black women on grooming and styling their hair, while also encouraging them to sell her product. Including her own image on the packaging, along with before and after pictures, bolstered her brand's appeal. Alelia, her 21-year-old daughter, oversaw the mail-order firm in Denver while Walker and her husband, Charles, traveled across the southern and eastern regions of the United States to grow the company. Walker and her spouse moved to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in 1908 and established the Lelia College to provide training for hair cultivators. In 1910, they relocated to Indianapolis, Indiana, where they set up the Madam C.J. Walker Manufacturing Company's headquarters. Meanwhile, the Denver operation ceased in 1907, with Alelia assuming control of the Pittsburgh branch. During this period, Walker empowered other black women to excel in business, imparting to them the Walker Beauty method and appointing many as prominent executives within her company. When her marriage with Charles Walker ended in 1912, Madam C.J. had become so renowned that she chose to retain his surname. She trained nearly 20,000 women as Walker agents, and her extensive advertising was prominently featured in magazines and African American newspapers at the time. In 1914, Walker stated, "I am not content with just earning money for myself. I am striving to create job opportunities for hundreds of women of my race." Walker was a proponent of education and generously donated to African American charities. In 1916, she relocated to New York City, entrusting the day-to-day operations of her company to her management team in Indianapolis. In 1913, her daughter, Alelia, had already relocated to New York. In New York, Walker became more politically active, delivering speeches on social and economic issues at conventions of black institutions. Walker became a member of the NAACP in 1917, and the National Association of Colored Women's Clubs honored her in 1918 for her noteworthy personal commitment to the preservation of Frederick Douglass's Anacostia home. Furthermore, the 1917 conference of the Madam C.J. Walker Hair Culturists Union of America in Philadelphia is considered one of the initial nationwide gatherings of American women in business. Upon her passing on May 25, 1919, due to kidney failure and complications of hypertension, Madame C.J. Walker left over $100,000 to individuals, organizations, and charities. She also directed 2/3 of her estate's future profits to charitable causes. At the time of her demise, she was recognized as the wealthiest African American woman in the United States. In 1927, the Walker Building, an arts center in Indianapolis that she had advocated for, opened its doors and is now designated as a National Historic Landmark. Madame C.J. Walker received many honors, including being inducted into the National Women's Hall of Fame posthumously in 1993. Furthermore, the United States Postal Service commemorated her with a stamp in 1998. Despite being celebrated as the first self-made female millionaire in America, Walker's estate was estimated to be worth $600,000 at the time of her passing.